Now I need a clappable. There you go.
You do actually, yeah. Good evening.
Trouble is, good evening. By the time it says live, it says 10 seconds in, so I would never know when to clap for it. And good evening, Ben.
Good evening, Tasties. We are here to go back in time. We're here to have a date with destiny and explore the world of Quantum Leap. Yeah.
Yes, a lot to unpack on this one.
There is, yes. We're in for those of you that haven't heard of it. Yeah, you're in for a treat here. This is a very good show. Very good show.
It is. So yeah. So we're just discussing. You got the five seasons. So it ran from 89 to 93. So it just counts as as much as Baywatch did, an 80s TV show.
Just about. I mean, yes. I mean, technically it was more of a 90s show, but the pilot was in the 80s and the first season was in the 80s as well. So it does count.
Oh, is it? Because how many is it? How many episodes was it? It was only limited episodes on the first season.
Yeah, I think it was only 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah, well, as much as half, I guess.
9 episodes.
9 episodes, including the pilot, which was a double episode.
Yeah.
So what was the first showing? March 26th. So yeah, it does definitely. So it did finish its first run. I wasn't sure if it did.
Yeah.
Now I remember seeing this the day it came out on BBC Two about 9 p.m.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember seeing the pilot on BBC Two. I did watch the majority of the show on BBC Two, but it wasn't until around halfway through the second series, I think, around 91. I think that's when they started showing.
Yeah, it would have been at least 90 before it was in the UK. Yeah. February 13th, 1990. So a year later, bloody hell.
Yeah, we did have to wait. But it was on a very good slot on BBC Two. It was normally 6 p.m. during the week. I think normally on a Monday or Tuesday, and that was that really good slot on BBC where they would like have Quantum Leap, and then they would have Star Trek Next Generation, and they would always put an American show on at that time slot, and it was a very good slot to have.
I saw those
good for ratings. Yeah,
because I remember it was advertised as it's a Back to the Future type show, so I thought, I'm going to watch that, and then the sort of is.
Yeah, I just really stumbled upon it by accident. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Yeah, I stumbled on it just by channel surfing and just sort of seeing it and not really understanding what it was about, or because I think the first episode I saw was I think it was Jimmy from series 2 where he leaps into the special needs kid, and wasn't really sure what I was watching, but I know I sort of went back to it the following week after, and then just kept on going back to it, and then it became a weekly thing, for the next few years.
Because it does set itself up with he's just jumped into something's happened, so what's gonna check out the next show, and then of course it's not exactly the same when it comes back because there's bits missing before he leaps and then says, "Oh boy."
Yeah, it's one of the best teasers you can have for a television show because you're going to see who he's going to be the following week, and what a way to keep the audience interested. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
because now Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell are the only ones to have been in every episode.
Yes, they were the only two that were cast. I think that those were the only two that Belisario had to cast. He only had to really sort of do a very quick process. Who was the lead, who was going to be the hologram, and that was it. And then everyone else was a guest star. I mean, there were a few recurring characters. I mean, Gushy, who was the guy in the lab, I think he came back for a few episodes, and Deborah Pratt, who was the voice of Ziggy and also the main narrator as well, multiple episodes.
And sleeping with the producer.
Well, they were married at this point. Yeah, they did meet on Airwolf, and then that sort of didn't go as well as it should have done, and they then developed Quantum Leap. So Airwolf's failure is Quantum Leap's gain. That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
definitely. I guess and then they divorced mid through this season in series in 91, I believe.
Something like that.
2 children.
Yeah,
yeah. So she was she did the voice of the narrator. She played Ziggy, and then another character in one episode.
Yes, in series 2, I think it was a very sort of supernatural, weird episode. Something Troy, and I think it was called. And
yeah,
and obviously that's what they named their daughter, Troy and Belisario. Yeah, yeah. And she actually guest starred in an episode a week later. I think she was only like 4 or 5 years old, and she was like one of the kids that can see Al, because normally kids and animals can see Al.
But was it kids, animals, and people with different brainwaves?
Yeah.
Although in the narration at the beginning, it just says Al is the only one that can see him. But I guess this. Oh, hang on. What the hell is this? the man that's seen Buffy 1,000,000 times.
I'm very surprised, Jim, because this was on BBC Two, and Buffy was on BBC Two as well. So I'm surprised.
Oh yes,
yeah, it was
and
always
this is better.
Because I'm pretty sure. I mean, it might have been shown on one of the cable channels at this point, but I primarily know it for being on BBC Two.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I remember. Like you said, it was late night BBC Two. I saw it the first season, and then the second season I think came to the 6 o'clock.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
it was nowhere else.
No.
It's on this list.
It's on the list. It's on your list.
So there's only 60. What did I say? 97 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can easily get it. I mean, the box sets I've got are the Universal Playback ones. These are now out of print, but I think now Fabulous Films have got the license. So it's just been reissued again, and there are new Blu-rays as well, but they are quite expensive. Yeah. But you can easily get it. It's easily available, and it's streaming on Peacock as well.
I thought it was because, well, we might as well get to it now. The sequel. Have you seen any episodes yet?
No, I haven't. No, but I did see that it's now dropped on Paramount Plus, so it's now available on there, which is strange because it is a Universal show, NBC show, and here in the UK, it's on Paramount Plus. So I'll have to get around to it at some point. But our friend Scott is still not in it. Yeah, and it did appear that there was plans to bring him in, but that hasn't happened, and it feels that maybe he won't be coming into it. So
yeah, I think they're dangling that as to keep it going, people's interest. That, it's just going to suddenly appear because he said when it first came out, I think he posted on Instagram that he is not in it, and he won't be in it.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of cryptic messaging, a lot of sort of, NBC have said, we want him, and then he said, I want to be in it, and apparently the script he saw said he was in it, and then he decided not to do it. So either he wasn't happy with how Sam was handled, or whether or not it wasn't a starring role, or if it was just going to be a lame cameo, or maybe he saw The Last Jedi and thought, nah, screw this, I'm not going to do a Luke Skywalker. Ruin my character. Yeah. I'm just guessing. Maybe there was something that he wasn't too sure of, and now he's doing another show on NBC.
Yeah, what's he doing? Because he's been a lot of TV.
Yes.
I know he was a stage actor before.
Yeah.
Pretty much. He did the Quantum, and then I remember him in a small part in Color of Night with Bruce Willis, the erotic thriller.
He was in Lord of Illusions, yes.
That's a good one. He's good in that.
Necessary Roughness as well. He was in that. Yep.
I love that. The American football version of Major League. But he did a few small movies, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then he did Enterprise, of course, for the Star Trek, and then was he on CSI? Where is it? New Orleans.
The NCIS New Orleans. Yeah.
No, yeah. Just got the letters mixed up.
Yeah, which I did like actually. That's probably my preferred NCIS show. I mean, the original one is great, but it's gone on for way too long. But the New Orleans version, I did enjoy a lot, and it only had a short run of 6-7 years. And I'm hoping to try and track them on DVD at some point. Yeah,
because I didn't get into LA, but I did watch a few New Orleans, but I couldn't keep up.
No, me neither. No.
When I retire.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want me to do the opening monologue?
Oh, I hope you would. Go on, then.
Okay. Well, there were a number of versions of it. I mean,
yes, that's what I'm. Which one are you doing?
Because originally, like the very first time the monologue was done, it was Lance Legault that did the voice, and then the following week, Deborah Pratt then did it. So I'm guessing they were testing the water, and then they stuck with Deborah, and then she did the whole monologue, and it was altered a bit, but this is the definitive version. So okay, right. Theorizing that one can time travel within his own lifetime, Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the Quantum Leap Accelerator and vanished. He awoke to find himself trapped in the past, facing mirror images that were not his own, and driven by an unknown force to change history for the better. His only guide on this journey is Al, an observer from his own time, who appears in the form of a hologram that only Sam can see and hear. And so Dr. Beckett finds himself leaping from life to life, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping that each time that his next leap will be the leap home. Thanks.
Well done. I could have done it without reading it.
Yeah, and to hear that was it was a pleasure to hear that. It was a good monologue for the show. Yeah.
Master of the 80's. Good evening.
Hello.
But because the pilot episode is even the fans say you don't need to watch that to get to see what happens?
Not really, because I never saw the pilot until the first season came out on DVD. I didn't see it until around 2006 when this was released. And I was a bit surprised that you barely see the future. You see it for a few minutes at the very start before the credits.
Yeah.
Because you see him literally leaping straight away. He's literally in the accelerator to begin with. There's no sort of build up or.
No, you don't. Why has he gone in it? Is he not allowed to go in it? So he's breaking the rules and going in it, or he just thought now is the right time or something? It never explains. Just says he's gone in it and he's gone.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because in the original monologue, or the one that was before the one I just said, it was said pressure to prove his theories or lose funding. He then just jumped in to see if it would work.
There you go.
That was the reason. Yeah.
But yeah, they never
pressure from those that were funding the project. Yeah. And then you literally leap into straight away. You go back to 1950, whatever it is, and Edwards Air Force Base, and military pilot.
Yeah. And you have to learn on the job quick.
Which isn't easy. I mean, if you were a race car driver, then you could probably drive a car, but to fly a plane, it's
but as usual, Al always has the skills to help.
Yeah, just no matter what the situation was, Al just seemed to have had some experience with everything.
Yeah, dancing, singing, jet planes, all sorts of things, hookers. How many is it? 5 wives Al's had?
I think he was married 4 times, but his original wife, this was part of the ongoing story, that his original wife thought he was killed in action in Vietnam, and so she married someone else, and then he's never forgiven himself for that, and that's why he's a womanizer throughout the whole series. But then they try and fix that as the series goes on. Like, he actually Sam leaps back into a time when his wife is there.
Yeah.
Saying to him, tell her I'm not dead, tell her. But he's like, I can't. We can't make our lives better. We agreed not to do that. Yeah. It was an ongoing thing of, we can't adjust our own lives. We've got to stay here and put right what once went wrong. Yeah, we can't.
Except when it's Beckett's brother twice, his sister once, and his girlfriend that could be his wife once.
And there was another time with he leaked into a younger Al when he was in the Marines, and he was based on rape charges or something, and he had to sort himself out then. And and then at one point, because it wasn't going too well, Al then disappears, and someone else comes in as the hologram for about a few minutes, and then all of a sudden Al's back because he did something to fix that one bit of history. Yeah. But there was a lot of to and fro-in, and a bit of inconsistencies, but as long as you sort of stayed with it, you roughly got the story. But in terms of showing stuff from the future, we didn't really get much of that. It was all about where he'd leapt into. Yeah.
Sometimes there was the room the other person was in. Sometimes it was like the computing office. That's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, normally I think and a little bit in the 4th season they started to sort of show the future a bit more, but only here and there. And you would sometimes see Al in the imaging chamber talking to whoever he leapt into, because there was one time when one of them actually escaped and went out into the city.
Oh yeah, he gets the gun and they have to go chasing him, which makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which brings me on to, how does it work? Is Sam physical body there, but everyone sees the person, or is his mind leaping? Because there's a lot of contradictions on both.
Yeah, because when he leaps in, we see him, but every time he looks in a mirror, we see who he's leapt into. And when Al's in the imaging chamber, he's talking to the person he's leapt into, but apparently Sam is still there as his body. So it's a bit because as I said in that episode where he's chasing the guy that escaped from the chamber, when he looks in the mirror and he sees Beckett, he doesn't see himself. Then he starts freaking out. So clearly. Yeah. Sam's body is still in the present, but his mind is,
But then Al sees the person whose body it is when he's a hologram.
Yeah. So anytime Sam became a girl, he was always eyeing him up and looking at him. So.
Yeah, because he's been a woman, I think it was 5 times.
5 or 6 times, There was a few occasions where, And poor Scott, hell of a trooper, sticking on high heels and dresses and pantyhose and doing all that, having to be a beauty queen and a receptionist, a pregnant woman at one point, and
a pregnant woman that almost gives birth,
gives birth, and also playing a rape victim as well in series 4, which was a very compelling episode.
Yeah, well, it wasn't afraid to go dark in some of the episodes. With
no. They went places, they definitely did, and I suppose that came because they were experiencing moments in history where, things weren't great in terms of, how can I put it? Just certain points in history throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s, prejudices and, racism and all that stuff. They did explore all that. Yeah. Yeah. And they weren't afraid to, bring it up.
Yeah. I think it was supposed to be, the future was apparently what, 1995?
So when they started around that, yeah. But I think it was like sort of 99 maybe, because I think it was like 10 years before, because they were filming it in 89. So I'm thinking it was like 10 years ahead sort of thing. Yeah. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It was never really
never got the flashing earrings or the high heels with lights in. Shame.
Yeah, they still haven't caught on yet, have they? We're 2020. Still hasn't. We're still not wearing them. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was all about he's had to leap into his lifetime, but he apparently never went further than 87 because I guess they don't want to play around with the future too much.
Yeah.
But then there was a few years he didn't go to, and there's a few years he went to multiple times, apparently.
Yeah.
And then there was, I think, 2 episodes he went before he was born. Because one, he went to the Civil War.
Yeah, that's when he leapt into his great-grandfather or something, yeah. And that was during the Civil War, like 1800s. And I think that was the only time they did it, yeah. And the other time was when Al became the Leaper and Sam became the hologram, and they went back to I think it was the 40s or something. So, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Like the only times they went back, even further. But they did... That rule was kind of good because they could only go as far back as the 50s, which was kind of like a decent period because if you look at the 50s, you've got cars, you've got television, you've got radio, air travel, telephones. So the suspension of disbelief is not too out there, is it? Like, we still got everything that we had then that we have now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking. The amount of... It's 97 episodes, yeah. So they had to cover a lot of years in those.
Yeah.
And then, mostly what he's up to because, I'm trying to think because he meets many famous people that he helps on the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that are sort of hinted at. I mean, you don't know whether they are or they're not. Yeah, I mean, in Series 5, he meets Marilyn Monroe, and he does have an old episode with her. In one of the Halloween episodes, apparently there's a young Stephen King hanging around, and apparently he sees Sylvester Stallone walk past him in a gym when he was doing the boxing episode, I think it was. Yeah. Also, when he was at a party and he sees like a little black kid dancing around, and apparently that's Michael Jackson. Who else?
Yeah.
He also meets Buddy Holly as well, who was trying to come up with Peggy Sue. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the song he uses instead before Sam helps him? Piggy Sue or something, or Piggy Sweet.
Yes. Yeah. So it turned out he was there just to tell Buddy, hey, why don't you try Peggy Sue? That might work. And then, leaps,
Yeah, because some of the stuff is the leaps, it's like 90% probability this is needed.
Yeah.
Like the Driving Miss Daisy, because a lot of the episodes were based on other films of the nature. And like Driving Miss Daisy it's supposed to be saving her life, but no, it's helping with segregation in down South America in the 50s.
Yes, stuff like that. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then what's the first season I saw with the on the farm in Texas where he's trying to romance the girl who's doesn't want to marry anyone unless they they prove themselves to her.
Yes.
There was Rob's here. Good evening, Rob. Used to watch the show every week. Yes, there you go. See, everyone loves the show.
It was immensely popular. Yeah, so many people were watching it. I mean, I fondly remember talking to everyone at school about it the next morning. After watching it on BBC Two the following night, it was we all sort of watched it. Oh, did you see Quantum Leap last night? Yeah, it was well good, wasn't it? I miss those days. Yeah, when you sort of talk about it.
Yeah, there's not much. Yeah, because there's so many things. Everyone's watching everything else.
Yeah.
So, other famous. You said Buddy Holly, Michael Jackson, Stephen King, Donald Trump is in an episode, Marilyn Monroe, Bill Clinton, Dr. Ruth, but we'll get to that. Lee Harvey Oswald, we'll get to that, and Elvis Presley, we'll get to that. There we go. Rob's brought. Wasn't he a monkey? Yes, he was.
He was a primate in one episode. Yeah, I remember that. Thinking, okay, he's this chimp. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those times where at the time I was like, okay, but when you look back at it now, it is a bit maybe they sort of let's just try it and see if it works or not.
And yeah, you got to think that some episodes are fillers, haven't they?
Yeah. You could probably skip that one. It doesn't really sort of change anything because Yeah, and interesting. Yeah, they tried ideas at least. They were quite creative with it, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't quite work. But yeah, being the chimp was
because you had to wear a nappy all the way through it as well as Sam.
Pretty much, yeah. Because Scott had to be in good shape because he normally had his chest out, so he had to sort of look at least to be a chimp. But yeah, yeah, memorable one that
yeah. He's played a chimp. The vampire episode. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that was like a sort of weird oddity. I guess this was in season 5 when they were trying to be a bit more creative and trying to make it a bit more different. And it's kind of because that was after the Dr. Ruth episode. Like you see her morph into a vampire in the imaging chamber. So it's like,
that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not really explained if it was or wasn't. It was kind of
exactly it leaves it up in the air because he does have he either thinks he's a vampire or he is one. But it doesn't tell you which one.
Not really, no. Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely thinks he's a Hollywood vampire anyway.
Yes.
But yeah. Well, like I said, yeah, he's leaped into Dr. Ruth because she wasn't very well known in the UK at the time.
No, probably not outside of the US. Yeah,
no.
Not
even anyone. Apparently, unfortunately, Ricky's here. I could bouffant it like you do, Ricky. But yeah, he was Dr. Ruth, who's a phone-in sex therapist.
That's great, yeah.
Or was. He did leap into Elvis's body, and then Sam had to do Elvis impressions under Al's tutelage.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah. and he was also Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes, now this was this was in season 5 again during that sort of creative. I call it the creative season because this is where they sort of really decided to do whatever they could. But yeah, this was Don Belisario response to Oliver Stone's JFK because that had just come out, and in that film it's an entire conspiracy. Everything is it's all up in the air. But Belisario has confirmed this story, and he's said it multiple times that he actually encountered Lee Harvey Oswald when he was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And because he went over to a place called Max 9, I think it was, and he went there to look for a duty roster to see if any of his friends were there because he was about to be separated from the Marine Corps. And he sees this guy on the floor reading Pravda. Now, this is like, late 50s, communist Russia, really Cold War, peak Cold War. And he says to him, "What are you reading?" And he almost got into a fight with him. And then like all his buddies were going, "Nah, he's harmless." He's like, "No, why doesn't someone do something about it?" Like, no, he's harmless, Yeah. And then he thought nothing of it. And then we get to 63, Kennedy gets shot. And then they released the photo of him. And then Belisario was like, "I know him." And his wife was like, "Nah, you just think you know him." He's like, "No, I know him. I've seen him before." And then as soon as they mentioned he was in the Marine Corps, he flashed back and he said, "That's the guy I almost got in that fight with." So having had that sort of little experience with Oswald, he then created, his own episode, which was a 2-parter. And he actually includes that scene in the episode as well, where you actually see Belisario walk into the scene as well. And you actually see Sam, sort of lose it because Oswald was such a strong presence or mindset or something. You see Sam sort of becoming him and then becoming
picking up on it. Yeah, whatever his mental state is.
Mannerisms or whatever it was. And, and that was the only time they went with a thing that actually happened, a real event where Sam was actually directly involved in something that happened. But obviously, as he's like sitting there in the depository, he's about to fire, and then he leaps, and then he leaps into the Secret Service guy who jumped forward to grab Jackie,
Right.
And then it sort of cuts to the hospital, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't change anything. And he said, "No, Sam, you don't understand. Originally, Jackie was killed too. So,
yeah,
so you can just change it up a little bit. So,
it's a nice
the Lee Harvey Oswald episode. So that was basically Belisario's response to JFK, saying, "No, he acted alone. There's no conspiracy. This guy's a nut job. He did it." Yeah. Take that for what you will. Yeah.
Yeah. Sold.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Oh, Nos wasn't happy.
Hey, Nos.
We'll get to that. we'll get to that later. That's a the big finish. But yeah, so now did you see the Rainmaker episode is one I remember because that one's a bit spiritual.
A little bit, yeah, because he's playing this guy, this sort of folk hero who says, "I can make it rain. I'm here to help you farmers. I can make it rain." And I was like saying, "There's been no rain here," and there's Ziggy says there's 98% chance there's going to be no rain. He's like, "Well, I can make it rain," and then just at the end, he sort of just asks the man upstairs for a bit of help, and then just at the end, it rains, and everyone is happy ever after. But yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones.
Yeah, because it's always said, who's sleeping Sam? Is it God? Is it whatever? Yeah, or is it Ziggy? I don't know. Just
exactly. We don't know. But then the devil does make an appearance, or a demon in our
yeah. This is one of their Halloween episodes, which again is a very good one. Actually, it's called The Boogeyman, and Sam leaps in and falls over straight away and hits his head, and then all of a sudden someone dies straight away. And he's thinking, "No, I should have saved him. And he's trying to solve this mystery about what's going on. And then we reveal that Al's not been doing his usual thing by using the door to get in. He's not got the Ziggy holder thing that he's got. And then there's this confrontation with him and this sort of weird demon that could be the devil, And it's actually a really good scene because Dean Stockwell chews it up massively, and he really enjoys playing the evil side.
He does.
Yeah. And it's sort of left open to interpretation because then Al does come in and he just sees himself. He's like, "Oh, Sam, this isn't good." And then, exactly. Yeah, you suddenly see two Dean Stockwell standing there. You're like, "Is this real? Is this not real?" And then he then just says to him, "Who gave you the right to go bumbling around in time, put right what I made wrong?" And then we reveal it's probably a dream or something, because then he suddenly wakes up. He's like, and then he sees, the guy's about to fall, and he saves him this time, and then he leaps again. And so, do sort of it's a bit all over the place, but it's okay to go a bit weird sometimes with time travel, because time travel is a weird concept anyway. So why not have some fun with it?
You mean you haven't worked it out yet?
Bob.
See, hello, Bob. He watches this every leap year. Extra day to watch it, yeah. Oh, see, we'll get to that. It's not over yet, because, like we said, it's not a remake series; it's a follow-on series. I've only seen the first episode, and everything happens all too easy compared to the old season.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've sort of read into it. I've read into it, and I've seen clips and teasers and seen who's in it, and I mean, it looks like they're just trying to do their own thing and trying to do the same thing again. But I did hear that the character of Ernie Hudson actually plays a character that Sam leapt into in Vietnam.
Apparently so, yes.
Yeah. Apparently so, yeah. So that there's that connection with it. So whether or not that's going to get used at some point, I don't know. But like I said, it's only just dropped on Paramount Plus. So I might have to give it a go and just see how it plays out, or at least until they get a second season going. But because everyone's on strike, I don't know whether that's even going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know if it started or I think they have done a second season or some. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I haven't seen enough of it to comment on that. But
yeah,
as far as I know, there is a character from the original series that Sam did leap into, played by Ernie Hudson.
Yeah. It's not that modern film, modern show where there's a whole gang of people this time involved instead of just the two of them you see on the screen. You got to see more of the other people helping him and all this.
Yeah.
And it's his wife.
I think that's what was one of this.
It's the wife that's helping the Leaper this time. She's the hologram, his wife. So.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's sort of different. But yeah, most of the time it was just Scott and Dean. You really only see them throughout 90% of the episodes. And like I said, it was towards the end, you would see the Imaging Chamber, you would see Gushy, you would see, a few others there in the lab. But yeah, really, they sort of kept that hidden for a long time. And sometimes that could be better, because then Al's always saying, "Oh, I was doing this or I was doing that." And you can sort of imagine what's really going on behind there. You don't really need to see it. Yeah, because we're sort of in the moment. We're here in 1977. We're not in the future. Yeah.
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 Because apparently all the people in the background are female characters, I think, apart from one. I think Gushy's the only male. I think
so, yeah, from what I
the
remember
doctors,
in that one where he does. Yeah, in that episode where he does leap back, that was, it's pretty much his wife and everyone else. And obviously, even though Ziggy is referred to a he, it's actually, a girl's voice, Deborah Pratt. So, yeah.
Yes.
It's never established what Ziggy is either. So
no, it never does. Anyone seen the newer show? Yeah. AJ has done reviews of it if you can't be bothered to watch it. It's for the first season anyway. So okay. Got a quick rundown without watching it.
Look,
Now, where are we? So the Rainmaker Christmas episode. Yeah, they do a Christmas Carol episode, of course. Where
yes, of course, yeah. It's one of the few times where Al actually does.
Al.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why that is. I guess it was just that thing of, normally it's kids and animals and special needs, but on this one occasion, this grumpy old git can see him, and, so they play that to their advantage so that Al can be the ghost of Christmas, whatever, and, scare him to death to make him do the right thing, and, yeah.
Yeah. So then there's another spiritual ending.
Sort of play. Yeah, another spiritual ending, but it said, did the star really come down? It was like, who's really watching this? Who knows? Yeah. But I do remember that one originally,
yeah, that's what I remember. And then there's another an angel episode where it actually is an angel. Apparently, because
I forget the actress's name that's in it, but throughout the whole time, she gets run over straight away, and then she just randomly gets up, and she's with Sam the entire time, and she can see Owl as well, and they're back and forth, and then it's sort of like, well, maybe she is, maybe she isn't, but good balance of humor.
Yeah, they're never concise, are they? So it is. No. They just leave everything open. Right, hang on. I'll just go to have a look at celebrities that have appeared before they were famous. So
there's quite a few, actually. Yeah.
Yep. This is a long list. Well, Bruce McGill, who's in the first and last episodes.
Yes,
but we'll get to him. I'm trying to think now. I should have copied and pasted the ones I did, like I normally would. Dan Butler, who was in Frasier as the bald sports guy. It's a lot of John Kreese from Running Scared and Monster Squad, etc. And Basil Wallace from Mark for Death.
Yes, he was in one. Yeah,
one of the twins.
Yep.
A lot of Belisario children.
Yes.
Tom Everett. And I don't think it's our Tom Everett. No, it's a different Tom Everett. Richard V. Barron, who played Lincoln in Bill and Ted.
Yes, him.
I know. Who's the one from Friends? She was in it. Oh, Noble Willingham.
Oh, Jennifer Aniston was in one episode, yeah.
That's it, yeah. She was before, when she was young. She was in an episode. And who's the kid from Third Rock?
Was it Joseph Gordon-Levitt? He was in one.
Yeah, he plays a young kid in there. Terry Hatch, of course, was one of
Yes.
Frank. Who's it? Sam's old flames. Guy Stockwell. I think it's his dad. Sherry Headley. I think Amy Steele from Friday the 13th films. Neil McDonough, who was the blonde bad guy in a few early 2000 films. Brooke Shields has been in it. Kathleen Willa Hoyt. Bob Saget. Liz Torres, is that the angel?
Yes, I think that's it. Yes. Yeah.
Harrison Page from Sledgehammer and AWOL. Let's have a look. Yeah. A lot of names. I recognize the face. Dietrich Bader. I think, Kurt Fuller. Everyone's been in this.
Yep.
Show.
Yeah, I can't. Tia
Carrera. Yeah.
So I've just got a few. Yeah. Tia Carrera was in one. Lauren Tom was in one. Amy from Futurama. Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Who else? Obviously, Dr. Ruth herself.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
She was.
Meg Foster was in one.
That's it. I think she's been in 3, but I don't know if she's the same character.
Yeah, she was. She was in like a 3-part. She was in a 3-part episode in series 5.
Robert Pine from Chips, Amy Yazbek from Robin Hood, Men in Tights. See, most of these are before they were famous.
Yeah.
Is that Janine Turner from...
Michael Madsen was in one.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Any Asian henchman? Claude Earl Jones. James Earl Jones' dad, isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. There you go. Bob knows.
Marcia Cross. She was in one.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, she was in one. Yeah. Janine Turner from Cliffhanger. She was in an episode as well.
That's it. Yeah, I thought it was her.
Yeah, Janine Turner. Jennifer Aniston.
It's a long list.
Alan Oppenheimer. He's been in everything. Yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces. The usual Universal regulars that you see in every other show from Universal.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, because it's Universal.
Yeah.
So yeah, another
Caroline Goodall, British actress. She as well. Yep.
Yeah. Noss says it never bothered me with the spiritual stories. Yeah. I enjoyed it right up until they started the Noss has got to be in his body about this finale. Did you ever watch the Bermuda Triangle? Do you remember that one? Every TV show.
I do remember that one. Yeah. Funny enough, I do remember that one because when that was on, I think it was their series 4, and at that point it was around sort of 1993. I remember this because I actually did a student exchange trip with the primary school I was at. We did this thing with a school down in Hastings, down by the sea, and there was a time when I would go down there, stay with the family, and then that boy would come up and he stayed with my family, here next to Heathrow. So we did that. And I remember that was the episode we watched when I was down there. Yeah. And we were just thinking right, we've done everything at school today. We went down to the beach, we did all this, did all that. It was all great. His mum cooked us dinner and then, Quantum Leap's on. Do you want to watch that? I was like, hell yeah. So yeah, we sat there and watched it. And it was that episode. Yeah. So yeah, that just showed that even nationwide, people were watching it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's an odd one because things get messed up. People, so he's on a plane, isn't he, going somewhere?
Yeah, he's on like a sort of private VIP plane that's kitted out for guests that are like traveling in luxury, and apparently the pilot is not who he says he is, and Al starts fading in and out because they're going through the center of the Bermuda Triangle. There's a thunderstorm going on, and you're not quite sure what it is. Like, is it, is it a ghost plane or whatever? Is everyone dead? You don't know. It's just one of those sort of weird oddities, but yeah. But like I said, I remember watching
another one that doesn't say either way.
Yeah, left to interpretation.
Yeah, and then there's a psychic episode where it's another one. Is she psychic or she just got mental issues?
Yeah,
she does get some things right, which freaks them out.
Yeah,
I think is that one where she can see Al because she is psychic.
Possibly, yeah, or she can sort of hear him or sense him.
Yeah,
she kept on sort of saying, "No, I better get it." Yeah, yeah. But like I said, they weren't afraid to sort of do these weird. They weren't afraid to do any sort of weird ideas, but all the episodes were always based on what can he leap into this week. Can he be, special needs, or can he be a higher wire artist, or baseball player, basketball player, a sex therapist, or the singer of a glam rock band, or a leader of a biker gang, or undercover cop, anything. That's how stories usually came in. Of like, what can we put him in as? And get the story from that of him being something specific. I mean, even playing a blind man as well at one point, and so
he's a blind man, but the character's blind, but he can see.
He can still see. Yeah.
And then there's there's another time he played was it a Vietnam vet with no legs, but he could walk.
And he had to so he had to sort of stay seated throughout the whole episode, and then when it came to the crunch point towards the end, the only option was to stand up and punch this guy in the head, and the guy was just like, "Oh my god, how are you standing with no legs?" And
it's a dodgy effect, but
yeah, it was a television budget,
but it worked for the series. It's a TV. It does, there you go. Yeah, see, I watched the first few seasons of old MacGyver before, but that's a crazy show. But yeah, definitely rewatch this because it's like 97 episodes. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, originally watching it on, and then remember seeing it on a few reruns occasionally, and then not until the box sets came out. That's when that was the only time to really see it. But it wasn't available for a couple of years before DVD came along. I remember it not being shown that often. Maybe on one of the sci-fi channels or a Sky channel, maybe cable channel might have shown it. But
I don't think the series came out on VHS here, did it?
There was. I know there's the pilot episode came out.
Yeah, it's usually the pilot, isn't it? Yeah.
The pilot, and I think episode, one episode. Yeah, and that pilot episode was also on later as well. And I think those were the only home video releases. There was nothing else until DVD. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
So it's pretty much television.
Typical. So that is true. There's no hero villain films or TV shows anymore.
Not really. No, it's all about every episode has got to connect to the next one and the next one and the next one, and
have a 10 season arc that they got to get through.
Yeah.
And Mike won't let this lie. It's the only episode he seems to remember. What a technical term at one point.
Again, that was the first. Yeah, it was. Yeah, at that point. Yeah, and like I said, that was the first one I remember seeing. Yeah, even though I wasn't sure what was going on, but that was the first one I remember seeing. Yeah, and then it was. I think that was the only time where he leapt back into Jimmy as well. I think it was the only character that he leapt into twice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his brother, Jimmy's older brother, appears in the finale episode as well.
Yes, in that sort of weird scene where everyone's in the bar. But like I said, we'll get to that.
Hi, Luke. Love the original Quantum Leap. Do not like the new series. Yeah, that seems to be a common thread. But yeah, I think it was. I think the first season was a 9 p.m. show, Mike, and then I think the second season onwards was a 6 p.m. weekday show. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I definitely remember a 9 p.m. first pilot episode.
Yeah.
Because hang on, I just looked at the VHS. I think it was a 15 certificate.
I'm not sure. I think it's PG. Yeah, I think Series 4 is the only one that did 15.
Yeah.
Of all the box sets. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess they were thinking it was more of an adult show in the time.
Yeah, I think it's the episode where Sam leaps into the rape victim. I think that's the one that might be rated 15.
Yeah.
I think that might be the only one, and there might be another one in there with domestic violence, possibly. But
there's
like maybe one 50s... disc, 2 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, the series 1, he leaps into a 50s kid that has to stop his sister marrying a punk.
Yes, yeah.
Who it'll turn out will beat her up in late enough, and then his sister. He leaps into his sister to stop her going into the same sort of relationship. Yeah. Oh, there you go. At least Sam leapt through time and ended up in an English castle. Oh yeah, that's the other episode I was thinking of. But yeah, I didn't find much information on that one. But yeah, he leapt into the Dark Ages or something weird. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Blood something.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know the one, but I can't remember the full synopsis of it.
Yeah, I can't remember if it actually was or not a real thing. Hang on. Oops. But yeah, they did used to have steal a lot from movies of the time, like Driver Miss Daisy and others. Ghost Ship, no, that's the Goodbye Norma Jean. That's the other one. Now, yes, there we go. The Evil Leaper came into it. When was that?
Series 5, it was, yeah.
Was it that late? Because I remember them. They weren't in it long, were they?
No, it was like one episode when he leaps back into Jimmy for the second time, and then he's doing what he should be doing. And then he's saying, and they're trying to, and then it's revealed that she is who she is, and then he encounters her again in a ladies' prison or something, Yeah. And then she sort of disappears again. So it's not really explained where she came from or why she does what she does. I do think the Evil Leaper thing came in a bit too late. Like, had they done that in the 3rd season, it might have worked. But
yeah. So yeah, it's Blood Moon season 5, episode 15. It's the vampire one. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we're freezing.
That's got the guy who played
the
psychiatrist in Bill and Ted in it. Right,
yes.
So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Not the Blood Moon, if I'd have paid attention. Jumps into the body of a guy sat at a piano.
Yes, that was when he was the blind pianist. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I saw the gangster one where he jumps into the gangster, then he jumps into the Godfather in the guns. Has to resolve the issue from 2 directions.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. While we're on the subject of that, what happens after Sam leaps out? Do the people just carry on as normal, thinking they've missed the whole time he was in their body? Do they know what has happened, or what do you think happens there?
Well, again, it's never explained what happens after he leaps out. Once he's done what he's done, then everything's fine and dandy, and everything happily ever after. You don't know what the side effect is of them going back in when they've missed this really important point of their life, and yet they never really experienced it. So how does that affect everything else going forward? It's just, I guess maybe that's overthinking it a bit, I guess, but
yeah,
it's a fair point. It's a fair point, but
yeah.
I
was Mike say? Was the Evil Leap a response to X-Files, or was that before? Did it finish? When did it? Was X-Files 93 or 91?
X-Files was 93. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crossing over a bit. But yeah, it would have been the same year, maybe. But I think it was just a foil to Sam, wasn't it? Because he was too good.
Yeah.
So they needed something.
Yeah, and that's why I said maybe that came along a bit. Yeah, had that been introduced a bit earlier, it probably would have worked. But yeah, by the time it came along, it was like kind of, well, why is she here? Who is she? We don't really know anything about her. She's just evil. That's it. That's the explanation for it. She's just evil, but we don't really know where she's come from or what she represents or how did she get there. That's never explained. It's just she's just there. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't she turn good and then her owl kills her or something? Am I misremembering it?
Yeah, that was in the that happened in the follow-up where she appears later in the women's prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
He sees her in that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she sacrifices herself to save Sam and way and
yeah. There we go. Dr. Impossible. David Hemmings, of course. Him of Airwolf. Yes.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting he was a director of TV shows. Yeah, thanks for that, Doctor.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, he did a few 80 episodes as well at that point, and so yeah, he was quite a hand at doing it. But I think it was only television. He never really did film. It was just television episodes he did. So yeah, and it was just weird to sort of see his name on the credits, thinking, hang on, he was a bad guy in the previous show. Bit strange, but yeah, he was an accomplished director. So yeah.
Well, yeah, was he? Yeah, he did. I remember because I always recognise him from his 60s films or whatever he's on about.
Yeah, Blow Up, wasn't it? He did.
I always confuse Blow Up with Blow Out and Travolta and De Palma. So yeah, and then there we go. What TV show isn't complete without a Bigfoot episode?
Well, is it? Isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it does start out quite funny because he's like in the bear costume pretending to pull a prank on someone, and then the kid sees him and he's like, "Oh my god, it's Bigfoot!" But he's like, "No, wait, I'm not." And then at this point where the car gets stuck on the rocks and it's sort of wedged in, they can't get it out, and then you cut back and all of a sudden the truck's back on the road. It's like, who did that? And then they sort of see this thing in the distance, and it does the famous walk and look.
Yeah.
And you're like, was it? Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, originally the story didn't have Bigfoot in it. They just shoehorned a real Bigfoot in. I don't know, the writers or the director of that episode. No, I think Bella Rosa was happy about that. But yeah, then there's also been Aliens.
Yes, I think again in the 5th season, the weird season. Yeah. He leaps into a much older guy who believes and is convinced that he's seen ships in the sky, he's seen lights in the sky. And Al's saying to him, "No, Sam, you've got to say you're straight, you're normal. You didn't see this because if you keep saying all this weird stuff, they're going to lock you up in the asylum, and that's it. He's going to stay there and be miserable, and he's going to die." And it's like, no, Al, I saw something in the sky. And then it sort of reveals that there is something up there, but it's not really fully explained. And then Al sees it, and then the people throughout the episode see this ship in the air. It's like, yeah, another sort of weird idea they came up with for that one. But yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then he gets into the beam of light and then leaps.
Yeah. So was he abducted or not? We don't know.
Yeah. Was it just a helicopter?
Yeah.
Oh, says. I'd like to think they are present when he was doing what they did, and they were just went along afterwards, understanding that something strange had happened. There you go. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's probably
just
decent way of looking at it.
If he leaps in, he doesn't know what's going on. They leap in, and they're in the middle of something that's just happened, but for the best. Makes it all a happy ending. Of course, it's all headcanon. So, yeah, another ghost episode that helps him. Did you remember that one? I think there's this character. I think it's the maid or in the house that is. I don't know if it's one of the spooky episodes. It's the maid in the house, Halloween one, where there's a maid in the house that he's talking to and having a conversation with, and then they turn up a load of dead bodies that the person murdered, and the maid is one of them, who's been dead a while.
Yes, yeah, that's the one with. Yeah, that's the episode with Deborah Pratt. Yeah, she's playing the sort of clairvoyant who can see or hear everything. Yeah. And then at the end, the maid disappears. She's looking at the window. She just disappears.
She just fades away. That's the one. That's what I saw. But and then I think the final one of the weird ones, a mummy is in it that comes alive.
Yes, I think that was one of the few times they went out of the United States, and it was in ancient Egypt.
Oh yes,
or sort of well, not ancient Egypt. It was like 1950 whatever, and he's in Egypt. Yeah. Into a tomb, and then they somehow all these curses are happening, like snakes keep appearing and stuff keeps going pop and all this stuff, and then the main bad guy, he gets stuck in the tomb and he unleashes this mummy that's in the tomb, and then you see a hand come up, and apparently Al sees it, and then he runs through the wall. He's like thinking, what the so it's whether or not this thing did come alive or not, I don't know, but yeah, that was another
exactly it's one of those things it never confirms or denies.
Yeah.
As
I said, I think that was the only one that was in the United States. Yeah. There was one outside of America, that one.
Budgetary, they don't bother. And keeping it within Sam's life.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't. It was on UK or Go, was it?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
didn't know if it
I wouldn't have.
It was repeated on BBC Two, but yeah. Thank you, Bob. It seems like Sam's on a mission from God. His destiny to keep leaping without breaking the cycle in that final episode called Mirror Image. All right. Hang on. I can't remember when I started. I do remember watching X-Files around that time. Yeah, I remember. Because I don't remember. Yeah, I do remember. All right, fuck it. Fine. Finale then.
Yeah.
I did watch the finale when it was on. But, the finale was a weird one. So I remember I'd have been about 20 when it came out. So I should have understood it better, but
yeah, I think I was nearly 12 at that point, because I don't think it was on until 94. I think because I think it would have been cancelled by then. But
most TV shows
I think it would have been early 94. Yeah, and it was a bit of a damp squid. I mean, I wasn't really sure what it all meant, and I mean, what happened is that they were hoping to carry on for a Series 6, but apparently it got cancelled while they were filming it, so they had to sort of wrap it up very quickly, because they were hoping for the following year, but it never happened, so they had to sort of conclude it there. And it's like, who's leaping Sam? Is it God, or is he actually controlling it? Yeah. And he has that scene with Bruce McGill thinking, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go home, or do you actually want to help Al? Do you want and then he helps Al by going back to Beth and saying, Al's alive, he's going to come home. And then that changes history. So Hal eventually does marry Beth and doesn't become a womanizer, has 4 kids. Yeah. So then that does sort of question, so did Project Quantum Leap happen if Al had the different life or the different wife? Did that?
Well, that's how I don't understand it.
So,
that's why it doesn't explain at all, just leaves you hanging. But Al's happily married, he's got kids and everything. And then, so I guess he was part of the thing that made the Quantum Leap machine, but could there be someone else instead? But then it just says Dr. Beckett never made it home, doesn't it? Even though they spelled Beckett.
Yeah, they even Yeah, I know. I was just about to say. Yeah, so it just felt really, really odd. And at the time, I wasn't really sure what I was really. I didn't never really got it. And then watching it again when I got the DVD eventually, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's just. Yeah, but I do feel it was beyond the control of Belisario and those involved, because they were hoping to carry it on. And had they known it would have been the final series, then I'm sure they would have done a better job at wrapping it up properly rather than finding out while they were filming it.
Yeah. Because I think it was about season 3. The US network changed it to from Wednesday nights to Friday or Saturday, which is the death knell for TV shows. But then they got 50,000 letters complaining, so they put it back.
They did,
because it was so popular.
Oh yes, yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, before the internet.
Yep. You have to send a letter with a stamp and make an effort, not just create their own hashtag.
Yeah.
Find their address. Good luck with that. But because the whole episode is he leaps into himself. He sees the mirror.
Yeah,
and it's him. And then Bruce McGill. Because who was Bruce McGill in the pilot episode? He was just a member of the.
He was like the main colonel.
Yeah. So I don't think they're.
He was like the main.
I guess
Edwards.
Yeah, there's nothing collecting them. I think it's just the same actor, just for fun.
Yeah.
But then,
you don't know whether he's got.
Yeah.
You don't know whether he's
in a mining town. He's in a pub.
Yeah, and also it's supposed to be, I think, Sam's birthday or the year he was born. I think that's
when.
It
was.
Place,
it was the day he was born, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then all sorts of weird stuff happens.
And also, it's very strange. But that set was actually a duplicate of the bar that Belisario's father actually had back in the 50s. Yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of like a homage to his dad as well. Like he wanted that sort of episode to take place in a location that was similar to what he grew up in. So it was built to as close as it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So the barman's called Al. There's a character called Gushy.
Yep.
Was there a Ziggy? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Ziggy.
I can't remember if there was a.
There was something Ziggy. There is a character called Ziggy, and then there's a guy that's a crippled guy who was crippled in the from lifting too much in the mines, and he's there. But then there's an accident in the mine. Well, sorry, the special needs kid's brother's there and doesn't recognize Sam, of course, when he tries to go out at him. And then there's an accident in the mine where people are trapped.
Yes.
And then this crippled character tells Sam to pretend to be the inspector so he can help the people by ordering them to do it. So they rescue the people. But then the crippled guy just vanishes into the blue light.
Yeah.
And then we find out that he was actually Al's dead. Was it uncle from
something like relation
Eastern
of
Europe?
Some sort? Yeah.
Yeah. And then that he's been dead for years and he was crippled in a mining from working in the mines and died from his injuries. But but then that. So it's hinting that other leapers are out there.
Possibly. I mean, it's not really explained. Yeah.
No, and then there's these characters that are from other episodes, and they don't remember the guy that was just there a minute ago. Only Sam does, and Al the barman. But then Al does turn up.
Eventually finds him, and then says, "I'm going to get you out of this, Sam. I'm going to make sure we can, fix this or whatever." And then then that doesn't get resolved. And then obviously, as I said, the scene with him and the other Al, the barman, sitting there, and he says, "Where would you like to go?" And he said, "I just want to go home." But at the same time, he wants to help Al as well have the life that he should have had. So as I said, it's a damp squid, and it's a really sort of flat ending, and it could have been avoided, but it is one of the show's major black spots. Like a very weak ending. Yeah.
Al's happy, but Beckett's gone, disappeared, dissolved, never was born. Doesn't. Just it never makes it
still
home.
Out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the sequels or the remake series or whatever it is supposed to be looking for him.
Yeah.
Which is, and if the actor doesn't want to be in it, it's going to be tricky.
Yes.
Hang on, let's go to the comments. Oh, bloody Sci-Fi Channel murdered good shows. They used to have good stuff. Yeah, and like you said, then they made their own CGI schlock fests that were terrible. Hemmings did do a film, 2 Australian films. One was based on The Survivor with Robert something from Jasper Carrot's The Detective, Robert Powell. There you go. The fucking name's there. Could have told me. He started a vampire film called The Thirst. Are they any good though? I know The Survivor is pretty good. I did like that, but there you go. Nos has reviewed the ending for us. I'm just saying what he says in the episode. He refers to himself as a cripple because he says that's what I am. So
there's a lot of words in the series that will get you cancelled today. So
yeah. We're not going into the civil rights ones.
Yes, yeah, Ooh, yeah. They weren't afraid to go.
Apparently, there is supposed to be a scene instead of that card that shows Al back with his first wife. Have you seen that clip?
Yes, it has emerged on YouTube, or at least pictures of it, or at least some footage of it. I'm trying to find him.
Video footage.
Yeah.
But
I have seen that. Yes.
It's a follow-on after Sam's leapt out and disappeared, and then Al's back with Al appears with his wife and is dancing with her for real because he got to dance with her as a hologram in the
that's
in the episode
previously. Yes.
So then he dances with her, and then he says, "We've got to find Sam now," and then it sort of ends on that sort of cliffhanger where they could be back.
Yeah, and I guess that was the plan for Series 6. That's probably what they were going to go with, but obviously that never happened. So
no, there were talks of a movie as well instead. Yeah. So they did have a backup plan, but then I think they just said, "Sod it, the series is done. He never made it home. How do you like them apples?" But yeah, it was a sudden. Here we go. What do you want, you beast? Are you here to talk about Quantum Leap?
Oh, hello.
Hello. Say hello.
Hello.
You have to look up here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You're right.
You gonna wave? Where are you?
Hello.
Yeah, up a bit. There you go. Right, bed. Because it's bedtime. Unless you're going to talk about Quantum Leap. No, there you go. I don't even watch Return of the Jedi. Yeah, exactly. I put it on. And this is garbage. I said, "You're not my son." Cripple is offensive now. Oh. Yeah, I'll have to get him his own channel. Then he can outdo me. Pay for me to retire. Now, have you read any of the comic books or books from the series?
See, I wasn't aware that there were any books at all until a few days ago when I was just going on YouTube to see. I sort of went on YouTube to see, is there any sort of trivia or anything that I might have missed, and then stumbled upon people talking about it. I was like, okay, I never knew that at the time, and I guess they never got. I guess they never got published over here, but yeah, they did exist. But only found out about them a few days ago.
I think the books are like fan fiction with officially released.
Possibly, but again, I don't know enough about them. So, because I said,
yeah, there was a channel. Yeah. Oh, see if I can see. Where I'm doing all my research. She's a very big fan. Alison with 2 L's, Pregla. So check out her channel if you want to go into really deep stuff.
Okay.
She's read the books, the comic books. She knows all about it. She's a big fan.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, Abby, hang on a second. You answer this, I'll be back.
Okay. So, Gareth and Ben, what are your favourite episodes? I personally can't remember anything that I would love to hear about your favourite episodes. There were quite a few. One that really stands out, I think, was towards the end of Series 3, where Sam leaps into a son from a family, and this is during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And his dad, who he slept into, he's trying to sort of build bomb shelters because the whole of the United States are fearing that this is going to be World War III and there's going to be a nuclear war. And as we know, that never happened. So, it was like playing on that sort of paranoia in the 60s about the Cuban Missile Crisis. And that was a really compelling episode. And it gets to the point where someone actually gets shot. And I think Kurt Fuller's in that episode as well. Yeah. And that was really compelling. I remember that vividly on BBC Two, thinking, oh, wow, and that's another good thing about the show. It taught me a lot about history. I learned a lot from watching Quantum Leap. I didn't know about the Watts riots or the Cuban Missile Crisis or, the Klan and, the Civil War and all that stuff. Yeah. So we just talk about favorite episodes. And that's one that stands out. It's called Nuclear Family. And he's living through the 60s when we're thinking the whole world's going to go to a nuclear war, but obviously it doesn't happen. Sam's got to convince them that, no, we're fine. Nothing's going to happen. We're all fine. But the family aren't convinced because they're watching the news and they're paranoid. And, so that was really good stuff. I think possibly my personal favorite is the season 3 finale called Shock Theatre, where he leaps into a mental patient and he straight away gets electric shock treatment from some, angry doctor. And then he's like still him, but he keeps on leaping into other people that he's leapt into. So his persona is going all over the place. So he's like the mental patient, and then he becomes Samantha Jones, who was the secretary, and then he becomes Jesse, who was the driver, the black driver. And then he leaps back into the Navy SEAL in Vietnam. He leaps back into Jimmy. He leaps back into the naval pilot from the first episode. And obviously the doctors are thinking, what is going on? And Al's trying to say to him, Sam, you've got to stay on the level, because if you don't, I'm not going to be able to connect with you. And it's getting to the point where Al's fading in and out. And the only way to get out of it is if he gets another shock to the head and poof, he can get out of there. But, Scott nailed that episode going from persona to persona. It was really, it's upsetting as well, because you're watching Sam deteriorate and he can't do anything about it. And, and also that was the only time he leapt into someone who had the same name, Sam. And also the only time where we don't see the face of the person, because we only see the faces of the people who he thinks he is. Yeah. So that was like a very good Shock Theatre. Yeah. Very good season finale, which then leads to season 4, when, because of the electric shock and the thunderstorm that's going on outside, Al leaps with him, and then they cut to 1940, whatever it is, and Al's now in 1940 and Sam's the hologram. So what are they going to do now? And they both go, oh boy, towards the end. Yeah. And I do remember seeing all that on BBC the first time. Yeah. Really good stuff. And happily, because of the way BBC Two were doing it at that point, we didn't have to wait between seasons. I think it was like the following week. There wasn't like a gap because they were always further behind. We never had to wait multiple months between seasons. They would just show it, straight away. So that's another standout. Another one I would say is when Sam leaps into a black man during the Watts riots in Detroit, and he thinks he's there to stop the riots, but he's just there to stop a close friend getting shot. And then he gets captured by the riot police and they batter him up, and it's all crazy and it's all mental, and you see a lot of blood and a lot of death, and that was like really good. I think season 3 is when it really hits really good ones. Another favorite is when he leaps into a member of a glam rock band. It's basically a tribute to Kiss. Where he's got to save someone from being stabbed from a crazy fan. That was a good one. Just trying to think of any others. Also, when he leaps into a member of the Klan as well. That was, they weren't afraid to go there.
No, you wouldn't. I guess the new one won't be going anymore.
Yeah. Oh, no, they won't go there, no.
The new one's been playing it very safe.
He's got to say, Sam, you've got to go with them. I know you don't agree, but you've got to stay with these guys, because if you don't, you're going to, it's not going to work. So that was a good one. And also the leap home as well, when he leaps into his 16-year-old self and he's back with his family on the farm. Yeah, and there's some emotional scenes and unfortunately he thinks his brother is still going to get killed in Vietnam, but then he leaps and then he's now in Vietnam with his brother, and he's now Navy SEAL, and that's
one of my favorites, is the Vietnam one.
Yes, definitely, and his brother survives and he's able to accomplish it, and then he might have seen Al, because Al was missing in action at that point. So I think there's a point where you see the prisoner walk past, and the photographer caught a picture of them, and you see it's a young Dean Stockwell. So that was a good one. But I think sort of towards the end of series 2 and 3 and 4 where they really hit their stride, and there were some really good ones in there. Yeah, really good stuff. And because the one about the Watts riots, I actually remember seeing that in Portugal when I was on holiday. This was around 94.
As you do.
Yeah, funny enough, this was 94, and there was a television and reception area, and it was just on. I think it might have been a Sky Channel or cable channel or whatever. It was in English. It wasn't in Portuguese. And I remember the girl at the reception desk. She kept on trying to watch it when she should have been working because she wanted to see it. She hadn't seen the episode before. So that showed that it was popular in Europe. It was popular in other countries, so they wanted to see it. So yeah. Just trying to think of any other favourites. Oh boy.
Mine's the
the
Stephen King one, or I liked as well because I've had so many Easter eggs because I was big into Stephen King at that time. So there's all these Easter eggs and the fact he was mentioned and that was him and there's Christine Carr and all these other stuff.
Oh yeah. Just trying to think of any of those.
Yeah, I'm trying. I remember.
And there was another good one where he leaps in. Yeah, I think another good one where he leapt into a magician, an illusionist. Yeah, that was quite compelling. Yeah, quite a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I think those are sort of top 3, top 4 ones I could think of. Yeah. But also Lee Harvey Oswald episode's very good. The opening of season 5. Yeah.
Some great acting in it, isn't it?
Oh yes, yeah.
I see. There are a few novelizations from episodes. Reading movies should know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Good evening. I remember him leaping into a woman for the first time. Yeah, very funny at the time. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it
doesn't know how to. He's got. Yeah, the actor has to be in heels, the makeup, and the clothes, and they have to look right. But yeah. I think it was 4 or 5 times he did that. He was. Yeah. I always thought he looked old. But like you say, he's 35 when he did it.
Yeah.
But I think he still looks good now. So something's working.
Oh yeah, he's nearly 70 now. Yeah, he still looks good for his age. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was.
I think he's 67 or 68. Yeah.
And not just a couple of the novels. Yes. Of course, the music. I forgot about the theme. Because isn't there a different theme for the first season again? Like most. The main theme everyone remembers doesn't come in until it's a popular season, or is it?
No, the main theme was for series 1 to 4. They changed it for season 5.
Nah.
Yeah, and the season 5 one was a bit more tempo, a bit more upbeat. Similar to what they did for the A-Team in the final season. Yeah, a bit more. Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
because the whole intro and because you get the story of Sam Beckett for a minute, then you get the intro of. Theme with all the names and stuff for a minute as well. So it's a very you can skip that if you need to.
Yeah, it does take a while, but that's a good thing.
I thought, why am I watching this bit again? Skip 2 minutes to get into the story when he leaves. Where was Sam Beckett born? Damn. I can't remember. It's on a farm, isn't it?
On a farm, yeah. His dad was a farmer, and that's where he was born and raised. Yeah. Whether or not he was born on the farm, I don't know, but that's what his
it doesn't say
early life was.
Yeah, I remember the episode on the farm with his sister as a young girl and tries to teach her stuff, so she won't live to have a horrible life. LA Story was great. LA Law was great. I should have watched that a lot because it was only in the late 90s I got into the law shows, but I never picked up on LA Law. I remember all it.
No, I was a bit too young. Yeah.
It went to Channel 4. Okay, I don't remember that. And maybe Sky. Yeah, I remember ITV a lot when it was at peak.
Vaguely remember, but like I said, I was probably young for that. Yeah, at that point.
Like everything else, a year later for us. Catch a Falling Star was pretty good. Which one's that one?
Oh man.
I was hoping you know.
I know the title, but
it's going to be. Dr. Impossible could tell us before. It takes me half an hour to scroll through.
Tell us.
I'll just sing while we're on Catch a Falling. Yeah. Mike remembers. 30 something around this time. Yeah, I remember that. Never liking that one. There we go. 30 something was good. One of the lesser knowns. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Young me wasn't into that. Elk Ridge, Indiana, according to Wikipedia. Thanks for the research, Mike. Oh, there we go. Catch a Falling Star. Where's it gone? Everything's just expanded on me. Right, there it is. December 89. Sam must save an alcoholic actor from a fall during a performance of Man from La Mancha. His old piano teacher is also present and finds Sam's host very attractive.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of a theatre episode. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking the one where Terry Hatcher's in. And then...
Yeah, that's quite early on. I think that was like the third episode. Second episode, I think. Yeah. Yeah, very early on.
He plays an old alcoholic teacher in a college, and all the lovely girls love him, fancy him for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. 1980. Scott Bakula was, and Sam and Dean Stockwell, a legend who we missed. Unfortunately, yeah, he did pass away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knight Rider. Mm-hmm. That's another good show. We done now. Oh, there you go.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Beat me to IMDb. Right, where are we then? So we've done that. I think that's all my stuff. Yeah, we've done the Evil Leaper, done the comics, the books, the finale. What else have you got?
There is an interview with Belisario on YouTube. It's from the channel Archive of American Television, where it's quite an extensive interview. They've uploaded bits of it on YouTube, but you can go to the actual website and see the whole thing. And he talks about Airwolf and Quantum Leap and Jag and Magnum and Quincy and all that stuff. But he does reveal a lot about Quantum Leap, and he said it is like his favorite show that he ever did. And the premise for it was that he wanted to do a time travel show, but also wanted to try and make an anthology. But at that point, networks didn't want anthologies because they wanted someone that was going to come back every week and have some characters that you love. And so he thought, well, if I sort of create time travel, have like one or two people to come back, then they can love it, and I can tell any story I wanted. So that's where the premise came from. And he pitched it to Brandon Tartikoff, who, as we know, was one of the great executives of Universal at that point. And he said when he was pitching it to him, Brandon was like very confused and said, he said, tell me that again in 30 seconds so that my mother will understand. So then Don did it. He pitched it, 30 seconds, did it. And then Brandon was like, well, I'm still confused. And then Don leant forward and said, yeah, but your mother's not confused. And so then after that, Brandon was just like, get out of it, go and make it. Before I change my mind, go and make it, And he had like faith in people at that point. I think, I suppose, back then executives had a bit more faith in people than what they do now. It's got to be this, it's got to be that. It's like, no, if he's got a good idea, I think I'm going to go with it, so it should work, yeah. And as far as I know, no other actor has been linked with the role apart from Scott. Like, I haven't heard of any other actor that.
No, I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
I think Al was the only character that was different.
Yeah, because I think Dean Stockwell was recommended, and Don was like, "No, he's just done Married to the Mob. I think he was just nominated for an Oscar at that point. So why would he do a television show?" But Dean was like, "No, I want to do it. I want to do a TV show." Yeah. And he says on the retrospective on the season 1 set, Dennis Hopper, his friend, said to him, "Don't do a TV show. What, you nuts?" Yeah. And then he leads to the camera. He's holding a cigar, and he said, "For the first time, Mr. Hopper was wrong." That's what he said.
Yeah, because I guess he was in Blue Velvet just before then.
Blue Velvet and Married to the Mob, I think, was another one he did at that point.
Yeah, he won. Was he nominated for an Academy Award or won one for Married to the Mob?
I don't know. I know he was nominated. I can't remember if he won or not. No.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. But
no, because Kevin Kline won it. I think Kevin Kline won it that year for Fish Called Wanda.
Yeah,
and then Dean was nominated but didn't win. Yeah. So as far as I know, Scott was the only really choice, and Don was saying, when he came in, he read for me, and he said, "Yeah, that was very good." And then as soon as he walked out, he went, "That's the guy. I want him. Yeah, that's Sam. Yeah, it was like instant choice. Yeah. So that was really the only, and that was really all the casting he had to do. He only had to cast, Sam and Al, and that was it. And he looks back very fondly of it. He worked hard to create the show, and he said Scott worked really hard at it. He was in real good shape, and he had to take on so much because Scott never won an Emmy, which I think is a bit of a disservice. I think he was nominated, but never won an Emmy. Yeah,
I think Dean Stockwell won a few.
Yeah, but sadly Scott never won one, and because Don was saying, he had to work so hard because, like, say for example, in one episode he's playing a baseball player, so he's a baseball player, he's doing that. Then on his lunch breaks, he would then be prepping for the next one. So the next one, he's going to be a high wire artist at a circus. So on his lunch breaks, he's then prepping for that while still being a baseball player. And then he gets to the circus episode, and then the next episode, he's going to be a biker gang. So he's having to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So he's taking on more and more as the weeks are going on. And, he must have worked so hard to, carry all that and having to learn more skills and having to, do more things. Yeah, he worked his bollocks off. Yeah, so a lot of credit to Scott. Yeah, a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Just trying to think of anything else he said. And he said, he wanted to make sure that the rules were pointed out straight away. He could only leap within his own lifetime, so you're not going to ancient Rome or Spanish Armada or anything like that. Yeah, from the 50s onwards to yeah. And he's very proud of the show, and it's it stood the test of time, and people still talk about it. And he said it's still his favorite show. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. And I think him and Scott have appeared at a few Comic Cons. Yeah, recently.
I was just going to say, Dean Stockwell had a stroke not long before he died, and then he did appear in a Comic Con.
Yeah, it wasn't well. Yeah, but
Sam. No, what is his name? Is
Scott,
the actor Scott? Because they're both SB. It's throwing me off.
There was they did appear together. I think a few years ago before he did pass. Yeah.
Yeah. Magnum PI would be good. Yeah, I do like Magnum because I know. Look at this. Bob McCall's not a fan of his rival Magnum, but he's back in my books that he loves Quincy. Quincy's one of my favorites from the 70s, and Hunter, which is Dirty Harry TV show. But yeah, as Mott says, back then, creativity was given free license on a great premise, but these days the suits prefer a specific formula. Yeah, unless you can say it's a IP in the franchise. You haven't got a hope.
Yeah. No, definitely not. No, but like I said, that's what was great. They put faith in people and said, "Well, I've got this idea, and okay, we'll try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then it don't work. Then you can just move on to the next one. But it's got to work straight away. Like this has got to hit now. We've got to get the hits. We've got to get the trending. We've got to do this. Got to do that.
Yeah, it's got to be on social media the next day. Otherwise, we're canceling the whole thing.
Yeah. It's just the way it was back then. It was just television was different. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. More faith in unknowns, lower budgets. Yeah, because when you're doing shows like Lord of the Rings for $1 billion and not getting anything back.
Yeah, because I think Quantum Leap's budget probably wasn't that big because, I mean, they obviously had to spend a lot for the visual effects of when he leaps. But in terms of its production, every episode was always, based in like one location or, based in like a hospital or a school or, they're not really sort of, out in the city doing big, landscape shots or anything. It was all sort of quite condensed. And I suppose that kept the budget down. So it was probably quite affordable to produce and to make. So that probably helped with its longevity. It wasn't too expensive to make. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you just need old cars and old clothes.
That's pretty much, yeah. Pretty much,
I'm just trying to think, what else do they have? They got plenty of buildings in the 50s in America and the 60s. So they can just film outside one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just buy some stock footage. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a few of that.
As far as I know, there's a few. Yeah, I know in the episode where he goes back to Vietnam, at that opening shot where they're shooting, you do see a few shots from Predator. I'm sure there's some shots from Predator.
I'll check that out now.
In the scene where they're shooting, and you see like bits of tree and leaves and branches being shot up. I think those are shots from Predator. I'm sure they are. It's like blinking you're missing sort of thing. Yeah. And as far as I know, all the episodes are uncut. I don't think there's any missing. None have been cancelled. They're all still on air.
Yeah.
I think there might still be some music. I think there might be some music changes on some of them, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I saw them when I was young, so I don't recall the original difference. Yeah. But as far as I know, the majority of the music has stayed intact. There might be one or two changes, but I don't think they've been butchered that much. Another thing to look out for is that, unfortunately, when he leaps into the next person, there's a few mistakes in who he leaps into because sometimes they reuse footage again from other ones because they hadn't filmed the leap in. So sometimes you might see the same person get leaped into 3 times. Yeah. But that's an issue that can't be. Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. So you see him leap into Jessica Black Man, you see him about 3 or 4 times leap into because there's just nothing else to use. So, and yeah, it's something that they can't really fix because it's already there. So yeah, because I know a lot of people complained about that, but it's like, well, that's how they were aired. You can't really edit them now, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, what's the point?
I'm just trying to think of anything.
Let's go with
it. Yeah.
Luke's asking.
As far as I know,
do you think?
Yeah. Do you think?
It was definitely season 5. It went different.
Season 5 was definitely yeah, because of the different theme music and going extra weird and doing creative stuff. Season 4 was probably the last time it sort of stayed as it was, like, you know, consistency of doing stories quite grounded, and then like season 5 went very weird.
Yeah,
but no, it didn't feel much difference. No, not really with 4. With 5, yes, there's a difference. Yeah,
because I guess it just came back to its slot. So I don't know. They were bolstered by the fans. Well, that's an easy one for me. I've only seen Murder, She Wrote, so so I haven't seen Diagnosis Murder.
I've seen a number of episodes, but yeah, like I said, that's a daytime show, so we're always at work. So I don't see them yet.
Yeah,
normally see them on your lunch break.
Originally. Oh yeah, definitely Murder, She Wrote. Oh yes, as it cost. Definitely not Murder, She Wrote. Yes, that is true. Yep. Yeah, we covered that, didn't we? They'd rather spend the money on Angela Lansbury.
Yep.
All right. 5 years is usually enough for a TV show. Yeah, if you're going for stories. But yeah,
I agree with that. I think 5 is a very solid run. You know, you can't. I mean, 6 or 7 at the absolute most. But if you can get a 5-year run, I think you've done pretty well at that point. So yeah, that's usually the correct amount for any show. If you can get a 5-year run, I think you've done pretty well.
Yeah, that's the usual aim, isn't it, when they do these things? But, Luke, there you go. Luke meant 4, not 5. There you go. 5, not 4.
Hey, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Always fun comments from Mike. That I don't know.
No idea.
I think so. Recently, I think.
Yeah.
But there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. I thought so. A year ago.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
No more murders to solve. Right.
Yeah.
There we go. So I'll wrap this up. Thanks for everyone for joining us.
Yeah,
Go
definitely.
watch the
like
show
I said,
if you've never seen it.
This is a very good. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's easily available. You can get these box sets. They've been reprinted recently, and you can get them on Blu-ray now. And I think they have been.
I was going to say, are they on Blu-ray?
But a bit expensive. Yeah. They are on Blu-ray now. It's a bit more expensive, but you can still get it You can still get the DVDs, and I think they've been remastered as well. But these are the older box sets behind me. These were released back in the 2000s. So, but I'm not going to upgrade them because there's no extra features that are on new ones or older ones. So yeah, you can easily get them. And as we said, it's streaming on Peacock, so I'm sure you can get it. And yeah, it's easily accessible and highly recommended and fondly remembered. Yeah,
it definitely is. Yes,
yes,
it's a good time watching that when it came out.
Yeah,
very educational.
Despite the crummy ending, it has a good. There's some good episodes in there with some good actors and some good writing. Yeah.
So I'll be back tomorrow night for the first time watch.
I've still never seen it.
Thanks, sake. So, good night, Nos. Good night, Bob. Good night, Mike, Luke. And we'll work out what we're doing next time. So, all right then.